Hello and welcome to the AP Human Geography Tonight Show, where we talk about our favorite AP Human Geography units and topics. Tonight, to discuss with us Unit 2, we have Chester Boserup, who recently won his recent physical debate with who?
Thomas Malthus.
Thomas Malthus, a very renowned geographer. So, what was the altercation about?
I believed that Malthus's theory was inadequate and inaccurate, so I decided to give him a piece of my mind, as some may say, and I offered some strenuous input on his theory.
So, according to my notes, Malthus's theory is that overpopulation will cause starvation, correct?
That's correct.
And what was your argument to that?
An increased population, along with technological advances, would revolutionize the agricultural industry, resulting in higher agricultural production overall, which would offset the population debate that Malthus cited in his theory.
So, in summary, you believe that the process of mechanization and basically means more populations mean more hands to help grow food?
That is true.
Okay, that is a quite strong argument. Why do you think his theory was so flawed?
I believe his theory was flawed because he did not take into account the upcoming technological innovations that we would soon pursue. This would ultimately undermine his original theory and would completely eradicate it due to its exponential growth in the food production industry.
So, what do you think the solution should be for all countries that are struggling with population growth? So, what do you think the solution is for countries that want to increase their population?
I believe increasing population is as simple as implementing pronatalist policies. This is because pronatalist policies encourage population growth by allowing mothers to either house more children or requiring mothers to house more children.
I agree.
This results in an increased population growth and may result in more mothers getting out of that, increasing the natural increase rate to the point where it's above the rate of
So, in short, you believe that the pronatalist policies will help increase fertility because it will give mothers and parents in general basically a chance to have more time with their children and take care of them?
That's correct.
All right. Very good point that you make there. Now, according to my notes, causes of aging populations could be improvements in healthcare and elder care, allowing for higher life expectancies. What is your advice for lower developed countries who are looking to seek, basically to become more developed and find that place in the demographic transition?
I believe the first step is acquiring higher sanitation and higher healthcare provision. This detrimentally and skyrockets life expectancy, overall health and well-being. It also decreases fertility rate and mortality rates, which overall increases population, while also keeping the country overall a healthier and more brought together lifestyle, as this sanitation will stop diseases.
Well, my rebuttal to your statement is that having an elder population isn't so bad, and according to your view on it, having an aging population, will have negative impacts because you think that they don't no longer have the ability to reproduce. Well, in a way, that could help the fertility rate, having an aging population, because grandparents could help. Their grandparents could look over their grandchildren, which could potentially open up more opportunities for even more children, since their parents don't have to. The parents of the children, I should say, don't necessarily have to look over their kids as much, because, like I said, the children will be at the grandparents.
Okay.
So speaking of Unit 2, there's also the topic of migration, which is very important, a very big decision for families that are going to migrate to a place. What do you think could be the biggest factor to a family migrating somewhere?
I believe the biggest factor is probably a refuge situation where they need to leave an area due to conflict. This could be like war or armed conflict in general, but that's probably the most popular and the most common way or reasoning of migration. Is usually internal migration due to conflict in general
and war.
Yeah.
That'd be a really good point, I'd say. So what you're basically saying is political impacts.
Yes.
Okay, and political causes. I think another big reason on why people migrate is the economic side of things. What? What? What's so funny? Are y'all seeing this? He keeps laughing.
Dude, nothing's even funny that time. I'm just laughing.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Now we're keeping that in. We're keeping that in. No, we're keeping that in. Anyway. So what you're basically stating is political factors that play into families moving away.
Yes, that's correct.
Such as wars.
Okay.
I think another big reason why families often migrate is the economic side of things, such as a place having more economic sustainability, like a better job that pays a lot better. Yeah, and overall, maybe even social factors, such as religion practices.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know what to say after that.
Make a good point though.
Yeah. And then I guess do you think environmental impacts could be a thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if there's a natural disaster, that would definitely incur someone emigrating from their area.
Such as a frequent occurrence of, let's say, just for example, say tornadoes.
That could be a push factor for sure.
Yeah.
An environmental pull factor could also be like nice scenery. Like if there's a natural environment that is desirable, such as
beaches.
Yes, beaches for sure. That's a great one. It may attract people to purchase homes in that area,
and maybe even the sense of place.
Oh yeah, for sure. Great connection there.
Yeah. As you already know, in life, things may not always go as planned, and there are often obstacles in the way. What are some examples, do you think, that could often occur when one migrates, such as obstacles or opportunities?
Environmental obstacles are definitely a thing. Maybe not now, but a huge ocean back when boats and airplanes weren't as sophisticated. And a vast ocean would be extremely difficult to cross. That's definitely an environmental obstacle. Another one could be like deserts, which could be very difficult to cross, and other types of terrain like mountains. Those can also be like barriers that may prevent or extremely limit migration from one place to another.
Yeah, and I think a more modern way of putting things. I guess in a more modern society, political factors
Oh, yeah,
most
for
likely
sure.
be common, such as countries may not be as open to migrants coming inside
Yeah.
their country.
Exactly.
But I guess it's not all obstacles that stops you. Sometimes a new opportunity presents itself in front of you, such as a new job opening that you find along the way that makes you stay in a place. Yeah, I think that's oftentimes.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So in my notes, one of the big, oftentimes a big topic in Unit 2 is the demographic transition model. Which one do you say is for a more modern country?
A more modern country is definitely one of the stages 4 or 5. Of stage 5 country is likely the most modernized, as its country is aging and is fully urbanized and deindustrialized.
And we've noticed in, of course, recent years that there's no longer a stage 1 demographic transition model. We don't really see that a lot nowadays. Most likely because countries are moving beyond that. The lowest we've seen in modern day society is Unit 2, which is early expanding.
Stage 2.
Yeah, where I guess birth rates are still high, but everything's slightly more advanced, such as medication and healthcare. But
Or at least
yeah,
advancing.
advancing, yes. What do you think is a good comparison of the of stage 5?
Stage 5, countries like Germany and Japan are definitely top tier comparatives to the stage 5 of the demographic transition model. These countries show an aging population with whole urbanization and deindustrialization to the point where they're extremely developed, and their pyramids, their demographic model pyramids, are beginning to represent a pentagon or an upside down pyramid.
What do you think countries need to do, such as stage 2 countries need to do to get to stage 3 or 4, maybe even 5 if they can?
To snowball this effect is definitely, firstly, the introduction of better sanitation and healthcare. As I said earlier, these are extremely important to a country's development, as it entirely affects a country's health and well-being. If a country has poor health or well-being, it simply cannot develop further. It is being limited by its health, essentially.
I agree. So hold on. Okay, the pause.
This guy.
I forgot I did not study for 2.1 to 2.5. So population distribution, where everyone is. Okay.
What if the recording sounds like trash?
I guess we just pray that it doesn't.
Fair enough.
Causes of migration. That's 2.11. Forced and voluntary migration. I guess we can also push that into the migration part of things. Effects of migration. Wow. We should really just focus on migration the whole time. Jesus Louise. I should have. Like, if I just scrolled a little bit more. Okay. So back to the topic of migration. Sometimes when families migrate, it may not be because they want to. Sometimes it could be forced. What do you think is an example of forced migration?
Forced migration, definitely something environmental, such as a natural disaster. They simply do not have a choice but to migrate because they can't stay there, well, they simply cannot stay there, especially if they have no more home to abide in.
Such as an internally displaced persons?
Yes, they could be one, but it's not entirely exclusive to environment. An internally displaced person is not exclusively displaced due to an environmental reason. That could also be politically justified.
And for the audience out there, sometimes an internally displaced person is not a refugee. Those two often get mixed up a lot. A refugee is when you move out of the country, while an internally displaced person is when you move away, but you're still inside the country. I guess another good example of forced migration could be the Icelandic slave trade that happened back in a while ago. Oh shoot. Alright. I guess another form of forced migration could be, which, in my opinion, a really good example is the slave trades that used to happen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wait, let's just restart.
Okay.
We can't be laughing during this part.
So, and on the topic of forced migrations, a good example could be, and since we're on the topic of forced migrations, a good example would be through the slave trades that used to happen.
Yes.
What do you think are what are some effects of migration?
Effects of migration. First of all, diffusion, such as cultural diffusion. Migration implements new faces into the community and ultimately new cultures, which may create creolization, assimilation, secretism, just a blend of cultures. It could result in the adoption of cultures from one another or a combination of them.
And often a result of that is ethnic enclaves, which is when neighborhoods consist of people of the same ethnicity, such as Little Italy and Chinatown. But oftentimes, effects of migration cannot be a positive thing, such as racism and xenophobia.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What are some laws that reflect that?
One way this may be carried through is countries restricting immigration, such as the lack of an open border policy, or just the overall dislike towards immigrants. This could be due to just an overall ick towards immigrants, and they may not desire such.
I guess seeing countries such as places in America having such cultural blends, maybe countries may not want that. Maybe they just want to preserve their own cultural homogeneity and just preserve what they already have without bringing in new cultures into the country, which makes sense. I mean, I understand why countries would do that, but oftentimes it could just be that they do not want immigrants.
That's true.
Oftentimes, jobs is a big role. That often it's a big topic in places, even in America. Yeah. What do you think some benefits of migration is for receiving countries?
Benefits are definitely, so one could be population growth. This influx of immigrants may increase population growth, especially if it's a country with more of a aging population. They may require these immigrants as workers to help work or to aid these aging populations. Another benefit could be the influx of culture. This culture may help create a more bonded society, but also
More diverse?
yes, exactly, diverse. And this may offer as a pull factor, although unconventional. It may bring more people in as more cultures are being represented.
I guess a good example of benefits for receiving countries is guest workers who come here to work for us and for often for a cheaper wage that employers may pay to their employees who are immigrants.
Yeah, for sure.
And it benefits both sides because the guest workers who come here, they get paid more than what they usually do at home.
Yeah.
And I guess another benefit for receiving countries could be workers that work a lower wage than what employers are normally willing to pay. Which oftentimes is a good thing, but a lot of times some may get taken advantage of. Can you think of some examples?
So, unfortunately, it's not coming to mind right now. I'm sure I could give you some examples, but it's just not processing at the moment.
And yeah, that's alright. Considering how much time I had to prepare for this show, especially for tonight's episode, I couldn't think of anything, so that's alright.
Okay.
Because older people may not. No way! I just looked at my script. No, I just looked at my script and just stared at it and didn't look up once. Oh my gosh, we're adding that straight to the bloopers. Oh my days. I'd say one of the most important decisions to have for an immigrant family.
Oh yeah.
Whether it be for economic purposes or social purposes. Stop laughing.
So sad. You're like, for economic purposes.
Okay.
Alright.
I think. Oh wow, voice crack, embarrassing. Okay, anywho. This podcast is so unserious.
It's so scuffed.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It's fine.
The editors will get it. Okay. Anywho, economic push and pull factors. We're cutting that out. We're cutting that out. Economic push and pull. No way, I just said we're gonna cut it out because I said economic push and pull factors and then I said it again.
I'm putting that in the bloopers.
Yes, dude. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyways, economic pull factor.
Oh shoot, I just saw that I have like shorts on. Okay. What are some intervening obstacles and opportunities?
Dog. Man, what the heck? Alright, wait.
And oftentimes a result of that is ethnic enclaves, which is when people of the same.
Good load of this guy.
Definitely go to the bloopers.
There's your host right here.
Definitely go to the bloopers. Jeez Louise. That man does not have his notes. Okay.
I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure with time I could. Unfortunately, it's just not coming to mind right now.
I mean, I understand. Why are you preparing like I'm actually gonna kiss you? Okay.